Hello, my friends. How are you doing today? I am not feeling so well. I had the day off work. I took a sick day, some sick leave. And as such, I'm feeling a bit useless. So I couldn't go in my garden. I couldn't go to the gym because, too tired for the garden. I'm lazy, It's gross to go to the gym when you're sick. And to be honest, my voice has only just bounced back from the Ian McDiarmid-esque drawl that I woke up with.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
So here we are. I thought I would be of use to you at least and answer an age-old question. A question indeed every man will have to call upon the information and resources he has to answer for the benefit of himself and his family. And that is, of course, which 14C 28N plastic handled knife made in high OECD European country should I buy? That's true. It's the Victorinox Venture or the Mora Garberg. Both of these knives are comparable to a point, but also different to a point, so it should make for a fun comparison. That's right, it's like comparing apples to oranges. Oh, there'll be the guy that says that in the comments. You can't compare anything without the apples to apples, oranges to apples, oranges guy coming on in. And they just love to say that. That's their favorite. They just can't believe you compared two slightly similar but also a bit different things.
I can't believe you've done this.
So we're going to do that. We're going to be the worst. So come with me, get in the muck, and let's be the worst together. So what are the similarities? What are the differences between these two blades? Similarities-wise, well, as you can see by me holding them up roughly level with each other, they're about the same physical dimensions. The blades are about 4 inches. The handles are about 4.5 inches. Even from this direction, they're both about the same thickness. Both of these knives have 14C 28N steel and hard plastic handles. Sounds like primary school when you don't know how to play an instrument and you get given 2 sticks. Both of them have sharpened spines so you can throw sparks off of them. Both of them have tangs that go all the way through to the end, increasing the strength and the street cred in the bush, on those streets of the bush of your knife. Both of them come with modular style sheaths of that simple sort of Mora style nature, I guess, where the knife just kind of clicks into a sleeve of plastic. Low fuss, low frills at the most basic level. And both of them in Australia cost about 180 big boys.
The Venture is actually a little bit cheaper in its basic model, but the Pro is about the same.
And I'll let you, look up yourselves how that converts to your money and how your money converts to Australian wealth and whatnot. But I always feel like about 180 Australian dollars is worth about 120 American dollars of stuff. So that's sort of how it feels to me. The numbers just kind of a bit bigger. But I'm not here to wax poetic about economics. I'm here to talk about these two knives. So those are the similarities. What are the differences? I'm going to go through the attributes of the knives and call a winner on each one. Or maybe it'll be a tie, or maybe it'll end up in a vague, wishy-washy conclusion. I mean, foreshadowing. But who knows? I definitely do have a favorite though, so you'll at least get that from me. So in terms of the handles, Victorinox here have gone for a more styled handle to fit the hand in a specific hammer style grip, or whatever this grip is called. I'm sure there is a name for this grip. And of course, that means it's got a palm swell and it's got a bit more of a raised portion just before the blade starts for your index finger to rest up against. On the back, it's got some jimps along there, some like carved into the plastic jimps, and even around the side towards the very cool little thumb scallops that are also adorning each side of the knife. So that's right, you can rest your thumb, turn the blade face up, and you can do yourself some chest levers. That's right. I won't do this too often because women will be all over me, and I'm quite happy with the sausage fest ratio of my audience, but chicks love chest levers. It's how I met my wife. She saw me doing one out in the middle of the bush and she had to have me. So you can certainly modify your grip however you like, but it is predominantly a knife that is most comfortable in the kind of a standard grip, right? And as such, quite comfortable. What I really like about this knife, this is just a superficial little thing, but the actual kind of roughness on the surface of the plastic, it's actually caused by them writing Victorinox lots of times, putting a little Victorinox symbol and lots of little like very highly precision like plastic moldings. And I really like that. That really speaks to me. You know what it says as it speaks to me? Victorinox. But I just think that's really cool. I'm always fond of like really well molded FRN. Like I love the little Spyderco FRN as well. I always dig that, I love the little, it's really neat little high detail plastic. It just tickles me in a certain way. So I like the grip. It's good, nice and neutral, but you really can't go wrong with the Garberg grip either. See, the Garberg has gone for a barrel style, very much symmetrical handle. You can pretty much draw a straight line through that handle, and apart from the slight kick out the bottom there, it's basically symmetrical. And as such, you can roll it around in your hand pretty easily. You can do it top grip, you can do it underneath grip. I mean, you could hold it from the side if you're feeling a bit kinky and frisky, but really any way you want to move the knife, you can quite easily. The knife is fixed in your hand pretty well with some flanging, flaring on each end of the handle there. No worries at all. And of course, owing to its round handles, you can rotate it in the hand and change those grips really quickly. If you're in some kind of situation where you might be doing a down cut and then something happens that means you need to quickly change to a chest lever, my goodness, you've just done it without even thinking about it, owing to the barrel style handle. This one is also the same hard plastic. They've etched some diamonds into the side of it. Feels maybe a little bit more rubbery. It makes less of a scratchy feel, so maybe it's a softer rubber just on these handle parts here. I don't know, maybe they've just cast it differently. Don't know. It still feels like hard plastic. You have to really kind of meditate on it to feel much of a difference. But yeah, more neutral, more for everyone. Does feel a little bit bigger in the hand. I got a large hand, so it feels fine for me. But if you're a small hand chap, you might find it a little bit puffy in your mitt there. Out of these two, I prefer the Victorinox. I did my long cutting test with the Victorinox, and I really liked how it felt. I was ended up kind of pinching the top, rocking it back and forth. I really like the little extra sort of maneuvering on these enable, like with these little side scallop pinch parts the most. I'm quite fond of that. It just feels a little bit more nimble and neat in the handle as well. Whole knife is a little bit lighter. That would be owing to the blade grind as well as perhaps having a little bit less tang in that handle as well. But handle-wise, I'm going to give it to the Victorinox. Now, the matter of the sheath. So I actually made a mistake. Old poo brain here. I ordered the wrong one. I ordered the wrong Victorinox to go in this and everything. So the standard Victorinox Venture, which is this one, it's not the one with the bow drill divot. You can get the bow drill divot Venture, which is a little bit more money, and it comes with a different sheath. It comes with like a more mechanized looking plastic sheath with some slots in the back. And this one, pretty simple. It does all right. But if I'd have gone and got the Pro, I would have been able to put, when I ordered this extra expansion part, I would have been able to put the two rods that came with it in the back and make myself a little improvised sharp maker style sharpener. But I did it wrong. That's my bad. So I can't. So I turfed those out. And when this part arrived, that's right, this is an extra. It only comes with this little thin plastic part here. This whole leathery part, this big folio, this trapper keeper that it comes with, right, that's an extra. So I paid extra for it. I don't know why I did, because it's a little bit on the silly side, but I guess I can show you what's on offer for you if you particularly want your knife to come with a spade bit. It comes with a spade bit, and that of course goes in this top hole here, and you can use that to make a starter hole for a bow drill fire. And it also comes with those two aforementioned rods, which I took out and replaced with a Falcon Even DC3 and also a ferro rod. It didn't come with a ferro rod. I thought that was a bit silly, seeing as it's like all a fire type knife. But anyway, it's definitely a bow driller's knife, the Pro version. So if you love a bow drill, well, you've probably already got this guy and you're taking it to your bow drill convention this weekend. So that's the basic lay of the land with the Victorinox Venture sheaths. Yep, basic Venture comes with a very simple plastic sheath. Venture Pro comes with a bit more of an advanced plastic sheath with more of a clippy top on the back. And then you can get this expanded kit for an extra like 100 Australian dollars, which I wouldn't really recommend. I think it's kind of lame. I think you look like kind of a dork if you. And this isn't objective criticism. This is like very personal criticism. But I think this is like the dorkiest thing I've ever worn on my belt. This is like the equivalent of like your stepfather wearing his flip Motorola phone in a leather case on the outside of his belt. This is like that. Anyway, lots of features, I suppose, if you're there. But the Moras come with, at the most basic level, a very, very basic Mora style sheath like that. Just a little leather loop on the back, and around your belt it goes. Then, of course, this is the little Bushcraft expansion kit, which has a little sharpening pad on the side there, so you can use that to put an edge back on your knife in the field, and then also a ferro rod, which handily you can just use to shower your friends in sparks all day, and do that for the benefit of yourself and the internet when you make your films using your Mora Garberg. So yeah, that's the Garberg, and it comes with a multi-mount sheath that you can expand up into as well. So sheath-wise, I like the Garberg sheath a little bit more. It's got everything you need, and arguably, something that you might never use, and nothing you really don't. Whereas this is about everything you don't need, and also you look like a massive dork if you wear it. And that might be, you might travel in circles where you don't look like a complete knob with this on your belt, but unfortunately, I don't travel in those circles, and I would be fairly and thoroughly teased if I was to roll around with one of these on the hip. Anyway, so I give the Sheath the edge to the Mora Garberg for sure. My goodness, it's 1-1. Could we possibly resolve this with a clear winner with the blade? Yeah, probably not. The blades are just so different that you can't really rule in favor of one being better or worse. So we're looking at these blades, right? The Mora Garberg has a low Scandi grind with a micro bevel on it. And that's important because the micro bevel really toughens up that Scandi. A Scandi ground micro beveled knife is quite a tough edge. That micro bevel will make the otherwise fragile Scandi quite durable, and you can in fact use it for your battening, your splitting, and whatnot. And given that it's quite a low Scandi edge, you got all the stock thickness steel here to make for lateral strength. This thing ain't going to bend, and it's not going to break, especially through things like wood. So there's no fine tapering down to really nice slicey edge on this guy here. It comes very sharp. It's going to be a bit harder to keep like shaving sharp, especially with the micro bevel. You may be tempted to take it back to the Scandi, but I'd say probably don't. Just keep sharpening your micro bevel, and that'll be a good woodworking knife, a good survival knife. If you're to shave it back to a pure Scandi, you're probably defeating the purpose of the knife. You can get pure Scandied Moras that are like full 0 ground Scandis. They're a bit more fragile. They're better for just kind of fine wood carving and not for the otherwise kind of survivally tasks of this one here. This one will, however, if you go to slice something like an onion, it will crack that thing in half rather than slice it. If you want slices, then you get this guy here. The lighter blade, the thinner blade, cuts much, much nicer for all of your standard utility cutting. Cardboard boxes, packaging, fruit, vegetables, meat, all the things that you might use a camp knife for that aren't splitting wood and harder core firecraft. You can use it to shave wood, make feather stick, no worries at all. But once you start using this in activities where you're going to be putting like torsional stress on the blade edge, you're probably going to start putting some damage on it. I've damaged a few of these flat ground knives lately, and it isn't fun, especially when you've just bought it. So thinking of my poor Civivi Vision FG, rest in peace, long may he reign. Yeah, it does happen to sometimes, especially on my Australian hard, red, nasty wood, does muck up these finer flat edges a little bit more. So this knife is for the people who want a slicey little companion knife, and this is one that they want to maybe, still cuts well enough, but they maybe want to put it into some harder survival style tasks. So as you're probably guessing, I can't really say which blade is best. This is going to be absolutely up to what you would prefer your knife to be doing. I would say I like this one more. So this is my favorite out of the two personally, because if I want a big, rough, rugged knife, I'm going to be packing something bigger that makes me feel like a tough, cool guy. A little knife like this doesn't really let me LARP as easily as a BK9 or something like that. And realistically, knives for me, I'd rather they cut and slice a bit easier. And this makes mincemeat out of rope and everything I've really put it up against. And given that it's a lower end steel, not the high, it's a good steel, but it's not the highest end steel in the world, right? Having good geometry behind it really kind of lets it stay sharp even after it's started to dull a little bit at the very edge. So a nice thin behind the edge grind. You still get those pounds per square inch when you push into stuff that really lets it cut for a little bit longer than this guy. This guy will feel duller quicker. It will, even though it's the same steel, probably treated the same way, and fairly comparable in terms of how it's composed and how it's presented. They are going to perform quite differently. I prefer the Victorinox Venture as a knife over the Mora Garberg, but I have no space for teasing of those who prefer the Garberg, because I would understand if you did, and that was fair. And you, my brother in Christ, you go ahead and you enjoy your Garberg. So which should you spend your $180 on? The Victorinox Venture, the Mora Garberg? Should you get both? Should you get neither and instead spend $180 on like your next utility bill, or freeing yourself from the oppressive grip of the bank or whatever credit providers are chasing you every month? No, get a knife, obviously. And I would get the Venture myself because, if it's 4-inch blades go, I like them to slice a little bit more than I like them to pry. So this is the one for me. All the extra fire kit, bow drill stuff is a bit much of a muchness. I get the basic Venture with its little basic plastic sheath, and you'll have a great time. You'll have a great little companion knife. No worries at all. And the people of Switzerland will no doubt thank you for it. Ta-ta. The Zerk.